What's going on, everybody? So if you hear any crunching in the background, all the dogs have just been fed, which is a perfect time for me to do the Monday afternoon sit rep. For those of you new to the channel, I'm your host, Pete. Thank you for joining me. The way this goes down is I go by region of the earth, Africa, Sub-Saharan, etc., and then by country, and it's done in alphabetical order. So we're going to start right away, starting in Africa. And Comoros, the president intends to hand power to his son. Comoros President Azali Assoumani has for the first time said publicly he intends to hand power to his son when he leaves office in 2029, confirming critics' accusation that he has been grooming his son to take over. So clearly he's a dictator, he's not a president. Democratic Republic of the Congo, that's in Reuters, by the way. This one, thousands uprooted as Congo M23 rebels near Goma in major advance. This is Reuters as well. The advance marks a turning point for the M23 since it launched its fresh insurgency to Congo's mineral-rich east in 2022. Gabon's military government announces presidential election on April 12th. That's Associated Press. A lot of government instabilities in that part of Africa, and it's not everywhere because Nigeria and Angola tend to be much more stable for now anyway. Sudan's a mess. Moving on, East Asia Pacific. Southeast Asian cities among the world's most polluted, according to Reuters. Southeast Asian cities were among 5 most polluted in the world, according to air monitoring organization IQ Air, with Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam ranked 2nd most polluted, followed by Phnom Penh and Bangkok in 4th and 5th. They don't say which one was first, probably Beijing, I don't know. Indonesian rescuers halt evacuations due to bad weather after a landslide kills 25. Indonesian rescuers on Friday paused search efforts because of bad weather as the death toll from a landslide on Java Island from 3 days ago, well, as of the date of this, rose to 25 people. And this is, again, according to Reuters. By the way, landslides are a real threat right now in California because everything's been burned. There's no grass, there's no trees, no root system to hold the soil down. And as we get further into the winter, they're probably going to get a bunch of precipitation off the northern jet stream. So watch in the coming month or two. And then in the spring, we have rain just across the U.S. for that risk. So if you live in California, you may want to start assessing what your plan would be if you have a landslide, where you get, even if it doesn't affect you directly, that you get blocked from getting from A to B. That's exactly what happened in North Carolina, and it happened so fast the folks just didn't have a chance to react. So plan ahead, because once it's happening, whatever it may be, that may be your risk factor, that's too late to plan. Then you're just reacting. You know what I'm saying? Europe. Okay, Belgium. Teen arrested over alleged plan to attack a mosque, according to DW. 14-year-old in Belgium, or 14-year-old, suspected of having far-right views, was arrested on Thursday for allegedly planning to carry out an attack on a mosque. We're starting to see a very big backlash from the right now that, 4 years of forced immigration have happened. There's a lot of conflict because the various groups are not integrating. So that's going to be a continuing issue in Europe. Hungary, Ukraine. Hungary wants the EU to intervene in the gas dispute with Ukraine. Associated Press. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban on Friday said he wants the European Union to intervene in a gas dispute between his country and Ukraine, a potential sign of friction in the bloc's upcoming discussion over renewed sanctions with Russia. Now, this could be Hungary. Viktor Orban is very friendly to Putin, so it could be him applying internal pressure into the EU to make things a little more favorable to Russia. Kind of hard to say. Ireland. Major storm lashes Ireland and Scotland as hurricane-force winds down power line and ground flights, according to the Associated Press. Here's another case. A bunch of airlines shut down. Millions of people in Ireland and northern parts of UK were urged to stay at home Friday as hurricane-force winds disabled power networks and brought widespread travel disruptions. This is something that happens repeatedly. We just never think of it. Again, one of the focus areas for me personally is to try to improve my own travel preparedness and then to share what I learned with you guys. Plan for that if you plan to go to Europe for business or personal reasons. And that's from the Associated Press as well. Middle East and North Africa, Israel-Palestinian territories, residents leave home in Jenin as Israeli West Bank raid continues. Hundreds of Jenin residents left their home on Thursday, prompted by messages from drones fitted with loudspeakers. Interesting. Witnesses said as the military demolished a number of houses on the third day of major operations in the West Bank city. Moving on, Syria's economic plan pains far from over despite Assad's ouster. That's the Arab news. The economy has been battered by corruption and 13 years of civil war, coupled with international sanctions and mismanagement. Inflation skyrocketed, pulling some 90% of the country into poverty. Over half the population, some 12 million people, and it goes on into some details. That's another thing, mismanagement. You could have a financial SHTF in the country. We kind of got a taste of it after COVID when things were not available. And as a result, the price of that which was available went up. So, you know, things to think about. South Central Asia, in Afghanistan, ICC prosecutor seeks arrest warrants for 2 Taliban leaders in Afghanistan. This is according to Reuters. The International Criminal Court prosecutor said on Thursday he has applied for arrest warrants for 2 Taliban leaders in Afghanistan, including Supreme Spiritual Leader Hibatullah Akhundzada, accusing them of persecution of women and girls. I don't think the International Criminal Court is going to go anywhere with this because the Taliban have taken power, so they're not going to turn over their own people. Moving on to the Western Hemisphere, Chile. Tren de Aragua members nabbed in Chile for murder of a Venezuelan dissident. Chilean authorities conducted large-scale raids through Santiago this week that authorities say led to the arrest of more than a dozen gang members linked to the murder of a Venezuelan dissident. And I've said it before, and I've spoken to some Venezuelan immigrants who are friends of mine who are now here, and the general consensus is Tren de Aragua is a proxy of the Venezuelan government. So, and the Venezuelan government is closely tied to Cuba, Russia, China, and Iran. So when we've invited all of these people into our country, regardless of where you stand on the immigration of innocent people, when you invite these guys in, essentially it would be the equivalent of, I don't know, say Russia allowing Blackwater into their country. Like, yeah, it's technically a private company, but we all know, you know, they did work for the government. The fact that our leaders did not understand this or did not care is frustrating. We're seeing, I did a video on Saturday, a live stream, we're seeing a big change in the dynamic. We're seeing the deportations. We're seeing the pursuit of this type of group. Pepper, get off of that table, madam. And yes, corgis can climb, by the way, even with those little legs. They jump like billy goats, dink, 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 and then somebody's on my coffee table looking for where my plate was when I had lunch, even though she just finished eating. Hey, that's not what we do. Go lay down. And the wrong dog went to lay down. Anyway, it's like having kids with little legs. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, so Tren de Aragua, without a doubt, definitely a proxy for the Venezuelan government. Ergo, it stands to reason they have been trained and they're not just here as a cartel. They're here for other reasons. Just my 2 cents. El Salvador. Salvadoran court sentences 3 youth to prison after they appeared in video making gang signs. Now, El Salvador has gone the opposite direction. They have literally fired all their generals with this new president and government, promoted a bunch of new people, and went after all the gangs with the military. And I mean in force. They've put 40,000 people in jail. They killed a bunch more who resisted. And they're now one of the safer countries in the Americas, right behind like the US and Canada. Tells you something. Anyway, the court in El Salvador on Thursday sentenced 3 youths to 5 years in prison. Ooh. And put 5 more on probation after they were arrested last year following a public release of a video of them making gang signs inside the school. They have a zero tolerance for this shit. Jamaica, and that's AP News. Another AP News, Jamaica, violence erupts after police in Jamaica kill a top gang leader they had sought for years. Police in Jamaica killed a top gang leader whose death unleashed a violent backlash near the capital of Kingston on Thursday, prompting authorities to raise the threat level to police officers to extreme. Yeah, when they don't have a good handle on the gangs and the government doesn't have their hand in that particular cookie jar like Venezuela does, then what you have is basically gangs create a pseudo-nation within the nation, which is what you're seeing here. Mexico, another AP News. Thousands protest the killing of 2 young brothers in Mexico's troubled Sinaloa state. Thousands took to the street Thursday to protest killing of 2 children in an attempted carjacking in Mexico's troubled northwestern state of Sinaloa. And then it goes on to talk about, and a few consular messages. In Africa, Burkina Faso, there's a demonstration alert the week starting on January 28th and going on for a week. Demonstrations are planned for the 1-year anniversary of the announced withdrawal of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger from ECOWAS. Another alert, security alert in the Congo. Due to an increase in the severity of armed clashes near Sake, North Kivu, and likelihood of increased insecurity in the region, including in Goma, the U.S. Embassy in Kinshasa advises U.S. citizens to depart to a safer location for the foreseeable future. And then another alert from the Congo, essentially the same thing. There's an increase in severity of armed conflict in those same areas. The U.S. Embassy is limited in our ability to offer consular services, and travel to North Kivu by U.S. Embassy staff is restricted. It's usually wise to look at this kind of information. Those came from the State Department, and that's public. They put it out, state.gov, and you could do travel advisories and just look at wherever you're going. Again, I don't see myself going to the Congo, for instance, but if you go to another country for work or for family, and they're prone to having issues, it's good to know this kind of stuff in advance. Other alerts, Micronesia, know this, level 1 normal, Mongolia normal, Europe, status red weather warning, we just talked about that, is issued a status red weather alert coming days because of the storms I'd mentioned earlier. Serbia, demonstration in Belgrade, organized marches and general strike called. Multiple groups are organizing marches on major roads and bridges, so avoid. Haiti is level 4, do not travel. The State Department can offer you no support if you go to that country. All U.S. air carriers and commercial operators are now forbidden from flying into Haiti because it's gotten that bad. Then Peru, a health alert. The U.S. Embassy recommends that U.S. citizens visiting Peru not ingest or use traditional hallucinogens, often referred to as ayahuasca or combo. These dangerous substances are often marketed to travelers in Peru as ceremonial or spiritual cleansing. They actually can give you an aneurysm, a seizure, a stroke, or some other bad stuff. It's kind of like Happy Fun Ball from Saturday Night Live. Do not taunt Happy Fun Ball. Do not lick Happy Fun Ball because you can have a seizure, heart attack, stroke, or blindness. So don't take hallucinogens in third world countries, for God's sake. You shouldn't take them in general, but if you do, get good ones. Don't go there and get janky ones and die. I think that's it, folks. That's it for this one. I'm trying to see if there are any other major alerts. No. So that's it for the Monday sit rep. Pay attention when you go to other places, whether it's domestic or international. Hell, at this point, I would recommend checking the news and the traffic before you even go to the grocery store, so you don't get stuck in traffic for 30 minutes for a 10-minute trip because, somebody screwed up. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this one. Again, a lot of instability around the world. Some countries better than others. Watch those protests because they tend to manifest very quickly. And it's very hard to plan around that if you don't have an inkling that it's coming. Otherwise, God bless, Godspeed. That's it for this one. We will see you all on the next video. Take care of yourselves.